They say time is the great equalizer. It ticks the same for kings and beggars, for planets and prayers. But what if that ticking is an illusion? What if time, the one force we all surrender to, is nothing more than a mental spell? And consciousness is the magician. There are whispers hidden in ancient texts, echoed by mystics, and veiled in the teachings of forgotten civilizations that time is not linear, that past, present, and future all coexist like layers in a dream, that when consciousness awakens, the clock stops. You've felt it, haven't you? Those strange moments where time stretches, slows, or collapses altogether. The way a memory can feel more real than the moment you're living in now. The way a dream can seem eternal, yet vanish in seconds. Mystics, sages, and quantum minds have all hinted at the same forbidden truth. Time is not a line. It's a web, and our consciousness is the spider. In this journey, we'll unravel the secret relationship between time and awareness. We'll trace the roots of this ancient knowledge from the Egyptian halls of Thoth to Eastern philosophies of cyclical time and discover how modern science is slowly catching up to what the mystics have always known. But this isn't just theory. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to step outside the clock, not metaphorically but in the very way you experience reality. Because once you see how time truly works, your perception of life, death, purpose, and destiny will never be the same. Are you ready to remember what your soul has always known? Long before clocks and calendars, time was measured not by numbers, but by rhythms. The rise and fall of the sun, the ebb of tides, the inhale and exhale of breath. In the temples of Kemetwat, we now call ancient Egypt, priests of Thoth taught that time was not a river, but a loop. They spoke of Jet and Nia, one representing fixed, eternal time, the other flowing and cyclical. To them, what we call the present was merely a veil between the eternal and the transient. In India, sages of the Vedic tradition described Kala, time, as divinino, just a measurement, but a being. Time was a god, an aspect of Mayatha illusion. According to the Yoga Vasista, there is no such thing as time. Time is born of the mind, it vanishes with the mind. And in the West, we see traces of this buried wisdom too. Plato spoke of time as a moving image of eternity. The Gnostics believed that the soul existed outside of time, and that our immersion into the physical world was a kind of descent into temporal illusion. Even the early Christian mystics, like Meister Eckhart, hinted at timeless awareness. There exists only the now, that now which neither began nor will end. But this knowledge was dangerous. To free oneself from time is to free oneself from control. If you can step outside the illusion of cause and effect, you are no longer predictable, no longer bound by karma, shame, or fear of death. Empires thrive on linear time. It justifies power, heritage, conquest. A civilization built on past mistakes and future promises cannot exist if everyone awakens to the eternal now. That is why the ancient knowledge was buried. Not destroyed, but encoded. Hidden in symbols, in sacred architecture, in myth and metaphor, waiting for the right minds to remember. The spiral, the labyrinth, the Ouroboros, these weren't just art. They were maps of time. And the message was clear: what you call the future has already happened. What you call the past is still unfolding. In mystery schools from Alexandria to Tibet, initiates were taught how to move beyond the ticking clock through silence, breath, ritual, and vision. Because to know time was to know the self. And so the question arises: if time is an illusion, what happens to consciousness when we break the illusion? Let's begin to unravel that mystery. We've all felt it. A moment that stretches. A dream that seems to last for hours. Yet the clock insists only minutes have passed. These are not glitches. They are glimpses. Glimpses into the truth. Time is a construct that consciousness can manipulate. To understand this, we must first shift how we perceive consciousness itself. Most people think of consciousness as something trapped inside their skull, like a candle flickering inside a dark box. But ancient teachings and now, even quantum theories suggest something radically different. Consciousness is not inside time. Time is inside consciousness. Imagine time as a movie reel. Each frame, a moment. Each second, a fixed image. But who watches the movie? You. the observer, the awareness behind the screen. You don't exist within the film. You experience it from beyond. This is why mystics speak of the eternal now, not as poetic metaphor but as experiential truth. Time is not moving, you are moving through it. When one enters deep meditation, time begins to dissolve. Because attention, the spotlight of consciousness, is turned inward, and when consciousness stops scanning the next moment, time loses its grip. There are experiments in neuroscience that back this up. Studies on mindfulness show that focused awareness actually alters the brain's perception of duration. Trauma survivors often report time freezing during critical moments. In ecstatic or flow states, artists and athletes describe losing track of time altogether. What's happening? Consciousness is contracting or expanding its frame of reference. This is the secret the mystics kept hidden in riddles. You are not on a timeline, you are inside a dimension of perception, a dream being dreamed. And the dreamer is you. So when sages say, the past is not behind you, it is within you, they are not being metaphorical. They are describing a reality where every memory, every version of you, every possibility exists simultaneously, like tabs open in the browser of the soul. This is also where the concept of karma transforms. If time is non-linear, then cause and effect are not chained. They're entangled. Which means healing the past isn't about traveling backward. It's about shifting frequency right here, in this moment. The ancient mystery schools taught initiates how to bend time not by speeding up clocks, but by expanding awareness. They used mantras to dissolve mental structures, breathwork to quiet the mind, and rituals to symbolically die to the world of form, so they could return awake in the world of formlessness. They knew, the mind creates duration, the soul resides in eternity. This is why time feels different when you're in love, or grief, or awe, because your consciousness is moving differently. And so we begin to see, you are not bound to the hands of a clock. You are the one who spins the dial. But this is only the surface. To truly understand what no one told you about time, we must go deeper. Next, we'll explore the paradoxes, the forgotten symbols, and the astonishing truths hidden behind our very concept of reality. If time is not a line, then what is it? Imagine a sphere. At its center, you. Around you, infinite pathways, events, decisions, lives not yet lived. You are not traveling through time. You are selecting slices of it with your awareness. This is what ancient mystics and some modern physicists call the block universe model. A reality where the past, present, and future all exist simultaneously. Like pages in a book already written. You're just flipping through them with your focus. In esoteric traditions, this is encoded in the symbol of the Akashic Records, a non-physical library said to contain all events, thoughts, and possibilities of every soul. Not as memory, but as living layers of now. Mystics don't predict the future, they tune into timelines. And here lies the paradox. You have free will, yet everything has already happened. You are not changing what is. You are choosing which version of reality to align with. Not linearly but energetically, through thought, emotion, intention. This is where the power of conscious creation comes in. It's not about controlling the outer world. It's about navigating the inner field where time is malleable. Ancient Tibetan masters knew this well. They trained initiates to recognize the bardo, the liminal state between life and death where all of time collapses, and the soul sees its lifetimes not as a chain, but as a garden of choices. To master time was to master reincarnation. Even in Hermeticism, this truth is hidden in plain sight. As above, so below. As within, so without. As before, so beyond. This isn't poetry, it's instruction. Your internal world is the timekeeper. Fear accelerates time. Presence dissolves it. Desire distorts it. Gratitude harmonizes it. Think of time like a prism. White light shines through and suddenly you see colors. But the light didn't change, you did. Your consciousness refracted the moment into past, present, future. So when mystics say, become timeless, they're not asking you to stop the clock. They're inviting you to become the light behind the prism. Here's another secreton whispered through symbols and half-lost scrolls. Time is emotion-coded. Think back to a painful moment. Doesn't it feel closer than it should be? Now recall a peaceful, distant memory. Doesn't it feel far away, even though it may be recent? You're not measuring time. You're measuring resonance. And resonance determines what you call reality. When a soul raises its vibration, it does not just feel better. It begins to attract a different slice of the block universe, one where healing has already happened, one where wisdom is already known, one where the future has already been softened. This is the great secret behind prophetic dreams, déjà vu, and quantum entanglement. Consciousness is not bound by time. It's tethered to it until we remember how to untie the knot. So the question is no longer, what time is it? But rather, where in time are you focusing your light? And now that you've begun to see through the illusion, what can you do with this knowledge? You now understand what the mystics have long whispered. Time bends, stretches, and folds not out there, but within you. But how do we live this truth? How do we move through the world while stepping outside its ticking cage? Let's begin with something deceptively simple: presence. True presence is not just being in the moment. It is the collapse of all other timelines. When you are fully present, the past cannot haunt you, and the future cannot pull you. In that moment, your awareness returns to its natural state, timelessness. Practice 1, the breath anchor. Sit, breathe deeply. Notice the inhale not as a thing happening in time, but as an event you are witnessing. Hold your awareness on just this breath. Let thoughts pass like clouds, don't chase them. Do this for 5 minutes daily. You'll begin to feel time slow not around you, but inside. Practice 2, the timeline split. Each night before sleep, speak this silently. I now shift to the highest version of myself. I align with the timeline where healing, clarity, and peace have already occurred. This is not delusion, it is intention. You are signaling to your consciousness to align with a new slice of time. Practice 3, emotional time mapping. Next time you feel a strong emotion, pause, ask yourself, am I feeling this now or am I pulling it in from another time? You'll be surprised how often your reactions are echoes, not responses. By witnessing instead of identifying, you collapse the timeline of suffering. You cut the thread. Practice 4, sacred time ritual. Set aside 1 hour each week, no devices, no goals. Call it your timeless hour. Use it for writing, stillness, ritual, or silence. This reconditions the mind to exit mechanical time. Soon, you'll find that this 1 hour feels like a day. You've expanded your inner time. Practice 5, awareness layering. As you move through your day, occasionally ask, who is watching this? This self-inquiry pulls you back from the surface of time to the source of perception. The more often you ask, the more you'll live as the observer, not the actor trapped in scenes. These practices are not meant to escape the world. They're here to reintroduce you to it. Because when you see time as flexible, you become free to reshape your story. You stop being the victim of fate. You begin sculpting it. Relationships heal because you're no longer replaying the same emotional tape. Opportunities appear because you're no longer bound by when they should come. Synchronicities increase because your consciousness is tuned to a larger rhythm. When you remember that time is within you, you reclaim your truest power, not to change the world by force, but to change your vibration and let the world respond in kind. You were never meant to be a prisoner of the clock. The ticking you hear is not the heartbeat of reality. It is the echo of a system designed to keep you in place. But now, you've seen through it. You've glimpsed the forgotten wisdom hidden in temples and scrolls, in the breath of monks and the silence of stars. You've begun to understand that time is not a master to obey, it is a servant of your awareness. Every second you live with intention. Every moment you reclaim from distraction. You are collapsing illusions. You are bending time. You've also discovered something deeper, that the past does not define you, the future does not limit you, and the present is not a fleeting sliver. It is a doorway. Through presence, ritual, awareness, and choice, you can step through that doorway at any time. And when you do, you return to the place you've never truly left, the eternal now. So the next time you feel hurried, lost in memories, or anxious about tomorrow, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself not, "What time is it?" but, "Where is my attention?" Because in the end, the great secret is this: you are not running out of time. You are running back to yourself. If your soul is timeless, what else have you forgotten? If this truth stirred something inside you, share this video with those who feel trapped by time. Comment with your experience of timelessness. And subscribe so you don't miss what we reveal next. The next door is already opening.